The Last Light of Earth. Part 1: The Man Who Outlived Time. Commander Lucas Ravens had always known he would never die like other men. Not because he thought himself special, but because Earth had chosen him not to. Year 2149, Launch Day. The sky above the Pacific launch ring shimmered with ion trails and orbital traffic. Humanity had outgrown its cradle, but not its curiosity. Not yet. Lucas stood alone in the preparation chamber, staring at his reflection. 32 years old, military posture, eyes that had seen war but not too much of it, not enough to break him. Final confirmation, a voice said behind him. He didn't turn. Commander Lucas Ravens, Expedition Vessel Helios Vanguard, Deep Survey Mission Theta 9. A pause. Then softer. You understand the duration. He smiled faintly. No one does. That earned a small exhale from the technician. Nanite integration complete. Cryogenic cycling protocols uploaded. AI companion assigned. You'll wake every 5-10 years for calibration and system maintenance. Lucas nodded. And if something goes wrong, he asked. The technician hesitated, then told the truth. You won't know. The nanites, they were humanity's greatest insurance policy. Billions of microscopic machines woven into his bloodstream and nervous system. They repaired cellular decay, prevented muscle atrophy, regulated neural degradation. They made long-duration space travel possible. They also made death complicated. Not impossible. Just very, very slow. Departure. As Lucas entered the cryopod, the AI spoke for the first time. Hello, Commander Ravens. He paused. Let's not do the formal thing, Lucas muttered. Got a name. Designation, AION7. That's not a name. A brief pause. You may assign one. Lucas thought for a moment, then smirked. All right, I'll call you Ayan. I accept. Good, wake me if we find something interesting. I will wake you for all scheduled intervals and mission-critical events. Lucas closed his eyes. Yeah, try not to let me sleep through the end of the world. Cryo-sealed. Darkness took him. Cycle logs begin. Year 2154, Wake Cycle 1. Nothing remarkable. 3 barren systems. 1 gas giant with anomalous storms. AI functioning normally. Lucas eats, stretches, logs data. Back to sleep. Year 2161, Wake Cycle 2. Minor hull damage from micrometeor impact. Repairs successful. Lucas jokes with Ayan. You keeping me alive out here. I am performing at 100% efficiency. Good, I'd hate to die before I get bored. Year 2172, Wake Cycle 4. First microbial life discovered on an ocean world. Lucas stares at it for a long time. Proof, he whispers. He sends the data home. Earth responds. Celebration, applause, humanity still watching. Still listening. Year 2198, Wake Cycle 7. Communications delay increasing. Nothing unusual. Space is vast. Year 2235, Wake Cycle 12. Signals weaker. Still there. Still human. Year 2310, Wake Cycle 18. Ayan hesitates before speaking. Commander, transmission clarity has degraded significantly. Lucas frowns. Relay networks. Several nodes are no longer responding. He stares into the void outside the viewport. Keep trying. I always will. Then silence. Unknown year, critical wake event. Pain. That was the first thing Lucas felt. Real pain. His body convulsed inside the cryopod as emergency protocols forced him awake. Fluid drained violently, System screamed. Commander, wake system failure. His eyes snapped open. Ian. The pod shattered open with a burst of vapor. Lucas collapsed onto the floor, coughing violently. Gravity fluctuating. Lights flickering. Status, he barked, forcing himself upright. Silence. Then, Lucas. Not Commander. Not formal. Just Lucas. He froze. Ian. There was something wrong with the voice. It wasn't just the distortion. It sounded tired. The truth. Systems failing, Ian said slowly. Primary reactor offline for extended duration. Emergency reserves triggered, 0.3% remaining. Lucas stumbled toward the main console. How long was I under? A pause. A long one. Calculating. Lucas's stomach twisted. No, he said quietly. Don't calculate, just tell me. Silence stretched. Then, elapsed time since last confirmed wake cycle. A flicker. 4182 years. He laughed. At first. Because that was easier than breaking. Yeah, he said, breath shaking. Yeah, that's funny. No one responded. No one could. The ship, the Helios Vanguard, was barely alive. Hull integrity compromised. Sections depressurized. Power grid fragmented. Half the ship was dead. The other half dying. How? Lucas whispered. Unknown, Ian replied. Possible cascading system failure following reactor anomaly. Repair attempts were limited. Lucas turned sharply. Limited. A pause. I attempted to wake you. The words hit harder than the number. I tried for 3,112 years. Lucas didn't speak. I failed. Earth. Lucas swallowed hard. Tell me Earth's status. Silence. Too long. Ian. I continued receiving transmissions for approximately 1,900 years after your last scheduled wake cycle. Hope flickered. Then died. Then, signal degradation increased exponentially. Then, Ian hesitated. For the first time ever. Displaying final received transmissions. The last messages of humanity. The screen flickered to life. Static. Then, a voice. Panicked. Anyone receiving this is not localized. Repeat, not localized. Another feed cut in. The stars are going out. We don't understand it. Regions of space just collapsing. Lucas stepped closer. What is this? A third voice, calmer, scientific. We are observing large-scale vacuum instability events. Entire star systems are being erased. No radiation, no debris. They are simply gone. Lucas's breath stopped. Another transmission. It's spreading faster than predicted. We believe this may be a cascading failure of spacetime itself. Then, a final message. Clear. Steady. Human. If anyone finds this, if anything survives. A woman's voice. Remember us. Static consumed the signal. And then, nothing. Alone. Lucas stood in silence. The universe outside the viewport was wrong. Fewer stars. Too much darkness. Ian, he said softly. Yes, Lucas. Are we alone? The AI processed for a long moment. I do not know. The choice. He could have shut down. Let the ship die. Let himself fade. No one would know. No one left to remember. But humanity had never been about easy endings. Lucas exhaled slowly. The status of repair capability. Anne responded immediately. Limited but viable. Nanite reserves within your body have expanded beyond original parameters. Lucas blinked. Expanded. They have adapted. Self-replication has occurred over extended duration. You are no longer dependent on original supply constraints. He stared at his hands. Define that. You are, for all practical purposes, functionally immortal. A new mission. Lucas let that settle. Then nodded once. All right. Ian paused. All right. He turned toward the stars. We're not done. Clarify. Lucas's voice hardened. If Earth is gone, then we find something else. Life. Yes. Purpose. Lucas smirked faintly. Same thing, isn't it? Rebuilding. Years passed. Not in cryo. Not anymore. Lucas worked. Repaired. Learned. Adapted. The nanites evolved with him. He could survive vacuum exposure for a time. Heal from injuries that should have killed him. Think faster. Endure longer. The ship became something new. Something stubborn. Like him. Year 1 after awakening. He got the engines online. Barely. Year 12. He restored long-range scanning. The galaxy was quieter. But not empty. Not completely. Year 37. First anomaly. A signal. Faint. Artificial. Not human. Year 41. First contact. The planet was small. Blue. Alive. Lucas stood at the airlock, heart pounding. Ian. Yes. Don't let me mess this up. You are humanity's last representative. Yeah, he muttered, no pressure. The surface. The sky was violet. The air breathable. The life unmistakable. Alien. Beautiful. And watching him. Small figures emerged from the tree line. Curious. Cautious. Alive. Lucas slowly removed his helmet. Raised a hand. Hi. And for the first time in millennia, he wasn't alone. End of Part 1. Part 2, The Ones Who Still Sing. Year 41 after awakening. Planetfall unnamed world later, Ilaris. They did not run. That was the first thing Lucas noticed. Any creature with survival instinct should have scattered the moment a stranger, taller, armored, utterly alien, stepped out of a metal beast from the sky. But they didn't. They watched. There were 6 of them at the tree line. Slender bipedal, their skin a soft gradient of pale blue and silver. Almost reflective under the violet sky. Their eyes were large, not in a grotesque way, but in a way that suggested adaptation to low light. Their limbs were longer than human proportions, movements fluid, almost musical. Lucas lowered his helmet slowly. The air hit his face. Cool, clean, alive. Okay, he murmured, that's a good start. Ian, he said quietly, barely moving his lips, record everything. I have been since descent, the AI replied in his ear. One of the beings stepped forward. No weapons. No visible hostility. Just curiosity. Lucas raised his hand again, palm open. A universal gesture. I'm Lucas, he said, knowing full well they wouldn't understand. The being tilted its head. Then made a sound. Not speech, not quite. It was tonal. Layered. Like multiple notes harmonizing at once. Lucas blinked. Did it just sing? Preliminary analysis suggests a communication structure based on harmonic resonance, Ian replied. Lucas let out a quiet breath. Of course it is. First contact, day 3. They did not capture him. They did not worship him. They did not attack him. Instead, they brought him food. It was placed carefully on a flat stone between them. Fruits, if that's what they were, soft, glowing faintly, emitting a sweet scent. Lucas crouched slowly. Either this is a welcome gift, he muttered, or I'm about to die in a very polite way. Nanites are actively scanning, Ayan said. No immediate toxins detected. Immediate isn't comforting. Long-term ingestion effects unknown. Lucas sighed. Yeah, figured. He picked one up. The aliens leaned forward slightly. Watching. Waiting. He took a bite. Sweet. Warm. Like sunlight turned into flavor. Okay, he said, nodding slowly. That's actually amazing. The beings reacted instantly. Their bodies shifted. Subtle but unmistakable. Relief. First contact, day 19. Language came slowly. Painfully slowly. But not impossibly. Ayan built translation models based on patterns, tones, repetition, context. Lucas added gestures, drawings, demonstrations. They met in the middle. Not quite their language. Not quite his. Something new. The first word they taught him was Ilar. Ayan processed it. Context suggests meaning approximates, life that continues, or that which remains. Lucas looked around at the forests, the sky, the people. Fitting. They called themselves. Not a single name. But the closest approximation Lucas could manage was the Ilarin, the ones who endure. Year 42 after awakening. Lucas sat beside a shallow pool, one of the Ilarin beside him, the first who had approached him. He had come to think of her, if gender even applied, as something like a guide. Her tones were softer than the others. More precise. Easier to learn. You not from sky, she said slowly, shaping the words with effort. Lucas smiled faintly. Not this sky. She studied him. Old. He laughed. Yeah, you could say that. She reached out, hesitant, and touched the back of his hand. Her fingers were cool. She flinched slightly. Warm, she said. Lucas looked at her. You're not. She tilted her head. Different. He nodded. Yeah. The question he feared. It came sooner than he expected. They were sitting near a fire, if it could be called that. A contained energy source, glowing softly, no smoke. She looked up at him. Then asked, You alone? Lucas froze. Ayan said nothing. For once it stayed silent. Lucas swallowed. Yes. The word felt heavier than anything he had ever carried. She watched him. Then something unexpected happened. She moved closer. Not out of curiosity. Not analysis. But comfort. Her kind did not touch often. He had learned that. Which made the gesture meaningful. You not now. The discovery. It happened in year 44. Lucas was aboard the Helios Vanguard, running deep scans of surrounding systems. Alaris, he had named the planet by then, was stable, life-rich, peaceful. But the galaxy beyond still troubled him. Too dark. Too empty. Ayan expand the scan radius. Already in progress. Focus on non-natural emissions, anything artificial. A pause. Then, Lucas. His pulse spiked. What is it? I am detecting a signal. Not just a signal. A pattern. Repeating. Structured. Intentional. Lucas leaned forward. Play it. A burst of static filled the chamber. Then, a tone, sharp, followed by another, and another. Lucas's breath caught. No way. What is it? Ian asked. Lucas stared at the waveform. It's not just a signal. He laughed, half disbelief, half something else. It's a language. But not alien. Not entirely. The structure, the spacing, the mathematical foundation. It wasn't Alarin. It wasn't random. It was human, Lucas whispered. Hope. It had been over 4,000 years. The galaxy had nearly died. Earth was gone. Humanity gone. Except, maybe not. The message. They spent weeks decoding it. Then months. Then a full year. Until finally, Ian spoke. I have reconstructed a partial translation. Lucas stood still. Play it. The speakers crackled. Then, a voice. Distorted. Ancient. But unmistakably human. If anyone receives this. Lucas closed his eyes. We endured. End of Part 2. Part 3, Echoes of a Fallen Galaxy. Year 45 after awakening. Orbit of Alaris. Lucas hadn't slept. Not properly. Not since the message. We endured. 4,000 years of silence, and that was what waited on the other side. Not a warning. Not a farewell. A statement. Lucas stood at the observation deck, staring into a sky that now felt less empty. Ian, he said quietly, play it again. I have replayed the signal 173 times in the past 48 hours. Make it 174. Static. Then the voice. We endured. Lucas exhaled slowly. They're out there. Yes. Or they were. Ian did not answer. Trajectory. The signal had a source. Faint. Distant. But real. Estimated travel time, Lucas asked. Using current propulsion capacity, 63 years. Lucas didn't even flinch. And if we push the engines? 42 years. Increased risk of structural failure, 37%. He nodded. Worth it. The hard part. Leaving. The Alarin gathered when his ship powered up. They had learned what it meant. Departure. Separation. Loss. Lucas stood at the base of the ramp, facing them. Facing her. She stepped forward. Her tones were unsteady. You go. He nodded. I have to. She tilted her head. Find yours. Yeah. A pause. Then, you come back. That one hit harder than anything else. Lucas hesitated. For the first time since waking, he hesitated. I don't know. Truth. Always truth. She studied him, then placed her hand against his chest. Over his heart. You carry them, she said. Lucas swallowed. I'll try. She stepped back. You're not alone, she repeated softly. Departure, year 45.2. The Helios Vanguard rose once more. Older. Scarred. But alive. Like its pilot. Deep space. Years blurred. Not in cryo. Never again. Lucas chose to remain awake. To experience every second. Every star. Every silence. Year 52. The galaxy changed. Not gradually. Abruptly. Stars missing. Whole regions where light should have been gone. like someone had taken pieces of the universe and erased them. Ian. Yes, Lucas. This is worse than before. Yes. Is it still happening? A pause. No. Lucas frowned. No. The pattern of absence suggests the event has ceased. He stared into the void. So this is what's left. The collapse understanding. Over time, Ian built a model. Not perfect, but enough. It appears the galaxy experienced a large-scale instability event, the AI explained. Localized breakdowns in spacetime propagated outward, consuming star systems. Lucas leaned against the console. Like a chain reaction. Yes. What stopped it? Unknown. That was becoming a familiar answer. Year 61. They found the first graveyard. A system. Dead. Not destroyed. Not burned. Just empty. Planets intact. Orbiting nothing. The star gone. Lucas stood in the viewing chamber. There should be something. There is not. No debris, no radiation, no remnant mass. Correct. He shook his head slowly. It's like it never existed. Year 68. Lucas stopped aging. It wasn't sudden. Not obvious. But one day he realized. He hadn't changed. Not in years. His reflection remained fixed. Stable. Unyielding. Ian. Yes. How far have the nanites gone? A pause. Beyond original design parameters. That's not helpful. They are no longer simply maintaining your biology. Lucas's jaw tightened. Define that. They are improving it. Year 72, incident. It happened during a hull repair. A microfracture. Small. Routine. Lucas stepped outside the ship without full tethering. He'd done it before. The nanites allowed short exposure. But something went wrong. A sudden venting. A shockwave. He was thrown into open space. No air. No heat. No sound. Just void. Lucas should have died in seconds. Instead, he felt the nanites react. A surge. His skin hardened, microscopically, invisibly, but enough. His lungs stopped panicking. His heart slowed. His vision dimmed. But didn't go black. Ian, he tried to say. No sound. But the AI heard him anyway. I have you, it said. Thrusters fired. The ship moved. Not fast enough. Lucas drifted. Minutes passed. Then more. He should have been gone. He was. When the ship finally pulled him back in, he collapsed onto the deck. Coughing. Alive. Report, he rasped. The nanites adapted in real time, Ian said. They compensated for vacuum exposure. Lucas lay there, staring at the ceiling. So I don't just survive. No. I evolve. Year 80. The signal grew stronger. Not by much. But enough. Enough to confirm direction. Enough to confirm intent. They're still broadcasting, Lucas said. Yes. After all this time. Ian paused. Or the system is automated. Lucas shook his head. No. He looked out at the stars. Someone's still there. Year 87, the second signal. It came without warning. A spike. A burst. Stronger than anything before. Lucas rushed to the console. What is it? Another transmission, Ian replied. Same origin vector. Play it. Static. Then. A different voice. Clearer. Stronger. To any survivors, this is the continuum. Lucas froze. The continuum, he whispered. If you can hear this, you are not alone. His hands trembled. We have found a way. End of Part 3. Part 5, The Continuum Awakens. Year 87 after awakening. Deep space, outer dead zones. Lucas didn't move. He just stood there, staring at the console as if it might vanish if he blinked. Play it again. Ian complied. Static. Then, to any survivors, this is the continuum. Lucas's breath trembled. If you can hear this, you are not alone. Silence filled the bridge. Then the final line. We have found a way. Hope and fear. Lucas leaned forward, gripping the edge of the console. Define a way, he muttered. Ian responded calmly. Insufficient data. Yeah, Lucas exhaled, figured. He straightened slowly. They're alive. Evidence suggests that possibility. Lucas shook his head. No, not just alive. He looked out at the broken galaxy. They adapted. Signal analysis. The new transmission was different. Stronger. Cleaner. Intentional. They're boosting output, Lucas said. Yes. Why now? Ian processed for a moment. Possibility, they have detected something. Lucas's eyes narrowed. Thus, course correction. Update trajectory, Lucas said. Max acceleration. Structural risk increases to 52%. Acceptable. Estimated arrival time, 19 years. Lucas smiled faintly. Let's not keep them waiting. Year 93. The galaxy grew stranger. Regions of emptiness gave way to something new. Not stars. Not planets. Structures. Vast. Geometric. Impossible. Lucas stared at the first one as it came into view. That's not natural. No, Ian agreed, it is not. It stretched across space like a lattice of light, interconnected nodes forming a web that bent around nothing. What am I looking at? Unknown. Lucas stepped closer to the viewport. Or exactly what I'm looking for. The first relay. They approached cautiously. Scans returned results that made no sense. Mass readings fluctuated. Energy signatures phased in and out. It's not fully here, Lucas said. Correct. Like it exists in multiple states. Yes. Lucas let out a slow breath. Humanity did this. Unknown. But you think so? Ian paused. Yes. Contact. As they neared the structure, the ship shuddered. External field detected, Ian reported. Hostile. Not intentionally. Lucas raised an eyebrow. That's comforting. The lights dimmed. Then, the signal changed. It wasn't just coming from somewhere anymore. It was coming through everything. Lucas' ravens. He froze. That wasn't Ian. Identify, he said sharply. Silence. Then, Commander Lucas' ravens. The voice was wrong. Not distorted. Not broken. Just too perfect. Too even. Like a memory pretending to be alive. Ian. I am here, the AI replied. The signal is external. Lucas's pulse quickened. You know my name. Yes. How? A pause. We remember. The continuum speaks. The viewport filled with light. Not blinding, but overwhelming. Patterns formed. Shifting. Evolving. Like thought made visible. You are late. Lucas let out a short, disbelieving laugh. Yeah, I got that part. You were expected sooner. Cryo malfunction, he said dryly, happens when you oversleep by a few thousand years. Silence. Then, you endured. Lucas stilled. Yeah. He swallowed. I guess I did. The truth begins. What are you? Lucas asked. The light shifted. We are what remained. That's not an answer. We are humanity. Not what he expected. Lucas shook his head slowly. No. He pointed at the structure. This isn't humanity. Define humanity. Lucas opened his mouth. Then stopped. Because for the first time, he wasn't sure. You left the body behind, he said finally. Yes. You became this. We adapted. Lucas laughed again, but there was no humor in it. Seems to be a trend. The collapse answered. You said you found a way, Lucas said. Start talking. The structure pulsed. The collapse was not natural. Lucas's eyes narrowed. I figured. It was a phase failure, a fundamental instability in space-time. What caused it? A pause. We did. Silence. The words hung in the air. Heavy. Unavoidable. Lucas stared at the light. You're saying humanity broke the universe? Yes. The price of survival. We sought to expand beyond limitation, the continuum continued. Energy, matter, time, we reached too far. Lucas clenched his fists. And when it started falling apart, we could not stop it. Of course not. But we could survive it. The choice they made. We abandoned physical form. Lucas exhaled sharply. You ran. No. The light shifted. Sharper now. More focused. We changed. The scale of it. We exist across multiple states, the continuum said, partially within your reality, partially outside it. Lucas stared. You turned yourselves into something that the collapse couldn't erase. Yes. And everything else. Silence. The question. Lucas stepped forward. Anger rising now. You left them. We could not save them. You didn't even try. We tried for 312 years. Lucas froze. And failed. A different kind of humanity. The light softened. You are different. Lucas blinked. Yeah, I've been told that. You remained physical. Wasn't exactly my choice. And yet you survived. Lucas said nothing. The invitation. The structure pulsed once. Join us. Lucas's breath caught. What? Your biology has already begun the transition. He felt it. Deep inside. The nanites. Always working. Always changing. You can become as we are. The cost. Lucas looked down at his hands. Still human. Still real. And if I do, you will continue. Alone. No longer. Lucas looked up sharply. What does that mean? The revelation. We have observed your path. The light shifted. Images formed. Ilaris. The Ilarin. Sir. You found life. Lucas's heart tightened. Yeah. You chose to protect it. He didn't answer. He didn't need to. Two paths. You may join us, the continuum said. Lord. Remain as you are. Lucas looked at the stars. Then back at the light. And do what? The answer came without hesitation. Rebuild. End of Part 4. Part 5, The Choice That Defines a Species. The finale. Year 87 after awakening. At the edge of the continuum, Lucas Raven stood between two versions of humanity. One made of light, one made of flesh. And he was both. The continuum shimmered before him, vast, incomprehensible, eternal. "Join us," it repeated. The words weren't spoken this time. They resonated. Inside his mind. Inside his blood. Inside the nanites that had long since stopped being just machines. Lucas closed his eyes. And for the first time in decades, he let himself remember. Earth. Not the last transmissions. Not the fear. But the beginning. Blue oceans. Crowded cities. Laughter in places too small for it. The smell of rain on concrete. The sound of human voices layered in chaos and warmth. Messy. Fragile. Temporary. Human. He saw the launch day again. The technician. The hesitation. You won't know. He saw every wake cycle. Every empty system. Every fatting signal. Every moment where humanity slipped further into silence. And then, Ilaris. Violet skis. Soft voices that sang instead of spoke. A hand cool and unfamiliar, resting against his chest. "You're not alone." Lucas opened his eyes. The answer, no. The continuum stilled. Clarify. Lucas took a step back. "I'm not joining you." Silence. Not hostile. Not surprised. Just observing. "You choose limitation." Lucas shook his head. "No." He looked at his hands. At the faint shimmer beneath his skin. At the quiet, constant presence of the nanites. "I choose this." "The difference." "You left," Lucas said. The light shifted. "We evolved." "You escaped." A ripple passed through the structure. Not anger, but something closer to disagreement. Lucas stepped forward again. "You survived by becoming something else." "Yes." "And that's fine," he said. "You had to." He gestured out at the broken galaxy. "I get it." Then his voice hardened. "But I didn't survive to stop being human." "The core of it." "What is humanity?" the continuum asked. Lucas smiled faintly. Still trying to figure that out. "Define it." He thought about it. Really thought about it. Not as a soldier. Not as a survivor. But as the last witness. "It's not strength," he said. "Not intelligence. Not technology." He looked directly into the shifting light. "It's the fact that we keep going." The choice explained. "You became something that can't die," Lucas continued. "Something the collapse couldn't touch." "Yes. I became something that can." That made the continuum pause. The weight of mortality. Lucas spread his arms slightly. "I can still feel fear. Still feel loss. Still care if something ends." He lowered his hands. "And that matters." "Explain." "If nothing can be lost," Lucas said quietly, "then nothing means anything." A different future. The continuum pulsed slowly. Processing. Adapting. Learning. You would remain separate. Lucas nodded. "Yeah." "You would rebuild alone." Lucas smiled. "For real this time." "No. Not alone." He turned slightly, as if he could see across the light years. Back to Ilaris. Back to violet skis. I already found life. Images appeared, reflections of his memory. The Ilarin. The forest. Sir, you would prioritize them over your own kind. Lucas looked back at the continuum. They are my kind now. Something new. Silence followed. Long. Deep. Then, this is unexpected. Lucas shrugged lightly. Yeah, we tend to do that. The offer changes. The light shifted. Less imposing now. Less absolute. You will not join us. No. But you will not reject us entirely. Lucas hesitated. No. Then we will assist. Lucas blinked. Wait, what? A bridge. We cannot return to what we were, the continuum said. But you can move forward. The structure around them began to change. Nodes aligning. Energy focusing. We will stabilize regions of space. Lucas's eyes widened slightly. You can do that. Yes. We will create pathways. Between systems. Yes. For life. Yes. Lucas let out a slow breath. That's a start. The condition. There is a condition. Lucas smirked. Of course there is. You will carry memory. His expression shifted. Define that. You are the last unaltered human perspective. Lucas frowned. I'm not exactly unaltered anymore. Relatively. He huffed a quiet laugh. Fair. You will remember what humanity was. Lucas's gaze softened. Yeah. And you will ensure that what comes next does not repeat our failure. The weight of legacy. Lucas stood very still. Because that wasn't a request. That was everything. You're asking me to guide the future of life in the galaxy. Yes. He let out a slow breath. No pressure. The final exchange. You chose to remain human, the continuum said. Lucas nodded. Yeah. Then be the best version of it. Departure. The Helios Vanguard powered up once more. But it wasn't the same ship anymore. The continuum had changed it. Not transformed. Not overwritten. But enhanced. Stabilized drives. Expanded sensors. A network connection, faint, distant, but constant. Not control. Never control. Just support. Year 88 return vector, Alaris. Lucas stood at the helm. Hands steady. Eyes forward. And, he said. Yes, Lucas. Set course. For Alaris. He smiled. Yeah. Epilogue years later. They didn't call him Commander anymore. They didn't really have a word for what he was. Teacher. Builder. Traveler. Storyteller. He moved between worlds. Not alone. Never alone. The Alaran grew. Learned. Reached for the stars. Other species were found. Some frightened. Some curious. Some broken. Lucas helped them all. Not as a ruler. Not as a god. But as something far more human. A guide. The legend. They would tell stories about him. Across systems. Across generations. Of a man who came from a dead world. Who refused to die with it. Who carried an entire species not in ships, but in memory. And somewhere. Beyond perception. Beyond time. The continuum watched. Not as rulers. Not as gods. But as witnesses. Because for all their evolution, all their transcendence, they had forgotten something. And through Lucas' ravens, they remembered.